All right, let's see if we can sort out how number 50 and 7.3 is. So they tell me if cosine of t is a 7 and t is in quadrant 4, find sine of t. Okay, does this sound a little bit like a word problem? A little bit. It's like kind of an easy one maybe. But still, I think for word problems, the first step is don't panic. Don't freak out. Second step is draw a picture. Okay, so where am I drawing a picture? Why am I drawing this picture?
Quadrant.
Yeah, there's supposed to be quadrant stuff, right? Okay, so t is in the fourth quadrant. What the hell does that mean? Okay, I'm down here someplace. And I'm looking for cosine is a 7th, right? So which side is cosine? Is that the horizontal or the vertical? Horizontal. Okay, so this is supposed to be 1, right? A 7th is pretty little. So that's looking down here someplace. Ooh. Bad picture. So here's my angle I'm talking about. That's my t. You guys all see that t has to categorically be an angle here for this to make sense? Why does t have to be an angle?
Because angles are the input of cosine sine.
Good, because cosine doesn't know how to do anything with stuff that's not angles, right? So the fact that I fed this to the cosine function means it's got to be an angle. You guys all cool with that? All right, now what? Maybe try to find a triangle. So my claim is that there's an interesting triangle right here. It's possible that you might see that up here. Does it matter whether I see the dotted triangle or the solid triangle? They're the same triangle. So pick one, pull it out, and look at it. So that looks like this in my head, roughly. This angle being t. This angle being 90. Oh, whoops. I told you I was going to look at the solid one, right? And then what did I do? Yeah, I immediately flipped it over and drew the dotted one. My bad. Yeah, I think it's probably easier because now I have the t in the right spot. You guys see that? Otherwise, I'd have to fiddle around and figure out that t is supposed to be down here. All right, so there's my triangle. What do I know about this triangle?
Hypotenuse is 1.
Good, it's sitting in the unit circle, right? So the hypotenuse is 1. And what do I know about the adjacent side? 1/7, right? Okay, now what do I know about right triangles? I know the Pythagorean theorem. And what am I looking for? Yeah, side, right? Maybe like A, B, C. Looking for like a B. Okay, see that trick? So word problem procedure was, don't panic, draw a picture, label the picture, picture label, and then maybe write down some math. Okay, so I wrote down a picture. The math I'm going to write down is Jacob's idea, which is what? What's the math? Pythagorean theorem. So how do I write that down?
A squared plus B squared plus C squared.
Okay. A squared plus B squared is C squared. And now which of these things do I know?
C
A is 1/7.
A is a 7. Okay, so I'm supposed to take a 7th and square it. Do I know B? No? Do I know C?
Yeah, 1.
So C is 1. Okay, so now what?
C minus A equals C squared minus A squared equals B squared.
Good, perfect. Move this to that side, right? So I'm going to subtract a 49 from both sides. So I think I got B squared is 1 minus a 49, which is 48 out of 49. And And then what? What do you want to do to both sides?
Square root.
Square root both sides. What should you not forget?
Plus or minus.
It's all sounds so bummed about that. That's a good thing here. I need that minus on this one. So I need plus or minus square root both sides. So I get b is plus or minus the square root of 48/49. Then what? Yeah, so I'm looking for the sine of t, right? Is the y coordinate on this height, or on this point. You guys see that? The y coordinate on this point is negative, right? So I think sine of t is negative square root of 48/49. So that was solve the math after I wrote the math.
Can we also use the Pythagorean identity? Or am I doing, is that just like?
Yeah, sure. You get the same thing. Yeah, so we haven't talked about the Pythagorean identity, but
Okay.
it is the Pythagorean theorem applied to the unit circle.
Yeah,
So.
I just figured it would just say the step up to the.
You guys know what he's talking about? No? Okay, I'll give it to you in a second. Any questions, concerns, deals on this?
I was gonna say, couldn't you, because cosine of t would be adjacent over hypotenuse, couldn't you like scale it up and make the adjacent side 1 and then the hypotenuse 7?
Sure.
And you would get square root of 48 or something.
Yeah, so we could rewrite this whole problem as, all right, there's some triangle somewhere in the world, right? And that thing's got an angle t in it. And I know that the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse is a 7. So I may as well call this 1 and that 7.
Yeah.
Then I can figure out what this is. It'll end up being the square root of 48.
Yeah, it's just scaled up.
Yes, I'm doing the exact same thing, but I've scaled up by a factor of 7. And I need to be a little bit careful with this, right? Because this will tell me that the sine of t, right, is square root of 48 over 7, which, by the way, is the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where did I get this negative sign from?
You know, it's
Yeah, that's from that quadrant 4 thing. So I have to remember that. Otherwise, totally fine. Cool? Questions, thing? All right.